All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a golf video. I know last year these were few and far between. We really stuck to the elevated / signature events and the majors. But this year, the 2025 year, hopefully I'm not biting off more than I can chew. I do want to get more of these golf pick videos out when we can. And here we are, starting it off. We didn't have one last week, but we do have one here for the Sony Open in Hawaii. This is going to be played at YLA. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Country Club in Honolulu. We're going to go through the course breakdown, and then we'll dive into the custom model that we built over on BTN to kind of see some guys that I think fit this course very well. We'll also go over some favorites and I guess some long shot plays as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays. So I'm actually rolling with myself for this tournament. It'll have all of my matchup plays, my round finishing plays, and that type of thing. Keep an eye on that. It's absolutely free. It'll take you to all of the final plays. But what do you say we dive into the course breakdown? Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Actually, before we even do dive into it, I will say it's still super early in the 2025 season, right? So don't go, going ballistic and throwing a bunch of your hard-earned bread at tournaments this early. This is not the most star-studded field or anything like that. So yeah, it's a long golf season. This is the first video of the year. We do not need to go ballistic right off the bat. But let's dive into this tournament. A couple things I want to touch on here. So again, YLA, again, I can't even pronounce my own last name, so hopefully I'm saying that correctly. A couple things I want to note. You can see here, fairway and regulation, just slightly below tour average. It's 57.8% compared to the 59.6 and nearly 60%. Scrambling, guys do seem to convert a little bit more over here, and they do seem to hit the greens a little bit more. Now, speaking of greens, small greens at this course, designed by Seth Rayner, right? Par 70, you have Bermuda grass on the greens. Around the green and in the rough as well is going to be Bermuda grass. So that'll be important when we start building out the custom model, right? But few more things to note. I guess I would say this. Looking at the par 4 scoring, fairly typical with tour average, right? Looking at the par 3 scoring, fairly typical for tour average. A few less bogeys per round, so guys getting in trouble does not necessarily hurt them as much as it would on tour average. But one thing here, now it's only 0.3 of a score, but that can make a decent difference. Par 5 scoring average, definitely some birdieable holes out here and birdie abilities from these players. Now, before we do get into some recent success players over the last 3 years, I do want to look at sort of where these shots may be coming from. So we'll start with the driver. The driver is not necessarily the best club or the biggest deal breaker for this course. You can see here, guys that hit it 10 to 25 yards shorter than average, 1.4 strokes gained loss per round. Guys that hit it 20 yards or longer than average, 1.6 strokes gained per round. Now, looking at the Bomber's Paradise meter on BTN here, you could see 5.7 out of 10. It's not exactly a course in which guys can just sling it around and hit it as far as possible. Where I think there's going to be a lot more room to move up the leaderboard is going to be on these approach shots. Now, you can see a lot of shots, the majority of approach shots are coming from that 126 to 175 range, and then secondarily that 176 to 225 range. So mid to long iron play is probably going to be pretty important here overall, which we can see when we look at some of the recent success. Now, this is the top 10 finishers over the last 3 years. It's going to be 2024, 23, and 22, right? So keep that in mind. We can see the finishers at the top. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of green. Now, green is good, red is bad. Let's establish that. But obviously, the guys finished first, second, third are going to have tons of green. When we start to scroll down and get into that 4, 5, 6, 7 range, you can start to see guys are finishing towards the top of this leaderboard, even when they may not be getting off the tee and gaining a bunch of strokes on the field, right? Same thing with around the green. So if you do miss, yeah, there's still potential to be able to, get up and down. Again, this is a course where not many bogeys occur compared to tour average. So yeah, bogey avoidance is going to be huge, but it's not exactly the hardest time to be able to go out there and make bogey. Again, if we look back up the scrambling, it's slightly above tour average in terms of being able to convert in scramble situations. Where I'm focused here is going to be where there really isn't as much deep red, and there's a lot of dark green, both on the approach, so strokes gained approach per round, as well as strokes gained putting. Now, putting, it's going to be pretty particular for us to focus on Bermuda grass, and then strokes gained on the approach. Two things I'm looking at: hitting into small greens And also looking down here, right, for these ranges, 126 to 225, I believe in our custom model, we have it built to 160 to 199 as a percent that we're going to weigh. So what do you say we dive into that custom model? We'll start talking about, I guess, some of the favorites and maybe some long shots, but we'll kind of go through who I'm liking. And again, over on the Guy Boston Sports site, which is linked in the pinned comment, you'll see all of my matchup plays and finishing positions and whatnot specifically. But let's look at the top 5 in terms of odds as of right now. You have Hideki, who's coming off a nice little performance at the Century last week, right? You have Hideki, Corey Connors, Russell Henley, Tom Kim, and Maverick McNeely. Now, the two that I really do like are the two first names on the board there, Hideki and Corey Connors. You can see Hideki in terms of stroked gains, just into a small green. That's what this one is right here. Overall, and then that's versus the field, and then overall to a small green from 160 to 199 yards. He is greening those out, right? Now, around the green, not so much, 75th right now in this field, and then putting number 2. So I'm kind of hoping that we can forego this. I'll talk about that with Corey Connors in a second as well, because these strokes gained in terms of his approach shots are landing on the green. We're not going to have to worry too much about the around the green factor for Hideki. I'm hoping, right, if we do choose to roll with him. And you could see in the last few years, he's had some success here, not so much in the last 2, but within the last 3 years, he's taken home a dub, right? So I do like Hideki. Now, is he going to win 2 tournaments in a row? Not necessarily sure, but I can't really knock his position here. Now, Corey Connors, a guy that in terms of his last 2 starts, tied 5th, tied 4th, obviously this last one being more recent and more important, and he's also had some decent performances, excluding last year at this course. He also looks pretty good from the strokes gained approach as well as the Bermuda putting. Same thing with Hideki, though. I'm hoping that we can forego that sort of red number in terms of ranking up around the green, because he's going to be hitting a lot of greens. So those 2 guys I like. I didn't really get to Tom Kim. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to score on those par 5s compared to his field. And then putting on Bermuda, not exactly his forte. Sure, you could like it because obviously he's had some nice success in terms of his strokes gained, but overall just kind of passed up on him. Maverick McNeely, strokes gained, is clearly why I like him. So those are the 3 names out of the top 5 that I do like. Hideki Matsuyama, Corey Connors, and Maverick McNeely. Obviously, Hideki, the heavy favorite here. But once you get down to Maverick McNeely, starting to see some top 10 potential, top 20 potential for plus money. Definitely not something that I'm shying away from. If we move a little bit down in terms of the odds, Luke Clanton, also one that I am strongly considering. There is no red numbers across the board. And again, these are filters and stats and I guess buckets that we put in based on what we think of this course. So we've custom made this, and he kind of greens this one out. In fact, we rank it by the model rank, which is how guys score here. Luke Clanton, number 2 on the list. Hideki, number 3. So yeah, I do think Luke Clanton's definitely a nice play this week. Plus 3,000 to win. I'd much rather probably look at him from a top 10 perspective or target him in any matchups overall. Now, if we jump over to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-ish names that we do like in this spot, we can start to get to some of those middle-of-the-road guys that maybe are worth targeting in a matchup or long shot type plays, right? So we'll start down here. Adam Svensson, yeah, obviously this is a spot in which we'd be taking a long shot plus 10,000 to win. You have him top 5 plus 1,400. I'd probably only consider him top 20. If we can get a top 30 number, I don't think we will be able to. I do like that, but any of these guys, Seamus Power, Lucas Glover, and Daniel Berger also kind of in that bucket for me. He might be in that mid-tier bucket, but overall, these 3 definitely. Look at all the green that we're seeing, right? There's no dark red number that can make us shy away from that. And what I will note, all 3 of these guys now, have they had the best recent, performance at this course? No, but they all do within the last 3 years. Now, that's a long time. They all do have top 5, top 3, and top 7 finishes overall. So yeah, maybe a sprinkle on these guys may not be the worst idea. When you look at it from a model rank perspective, right, you could see Svensson, Seamus Power right there. Obviously, guys that may fit the bill for this course. Lucas Glover, obviously, if you could see it here, has been cut 2 times in a row, so maybe you're using that as a negative, but strokes gained overall here, second in the entire field, right? So I don't mind his spot. The only thing that worries me is that, well, he doesn't seem to be playing well at the beginning of the years so far. In that next sort of group, I would say Austin Eckroat, Taylor Pendrith, Ben Griffin, Harry Hall, and Denny McCarthy, as well as Daniel Berger, kind of all in there. If I had to exclude one of these, it may be Taylor Pendrith. I mean, when you look at the strokes gained towards the green here, into small greens from 160 to 199, 100, not all that tremendous, right? In fact, raw values wise, he's losing just under a tenth of a stroke per round on that. So not exactly my favorite spot, but I think that someone like Daniel Berger could be, which is weird because obviously he's had some big moments in his career, could be somewhat of a sleeper. You can see strokes gained in small greens, phenomenal at it. Strokes gained in small greens from that distance, phenomenal at it. And then around the green, say he does miss, he's great at that. My one concern is, okay, well, his putting and his par 5 scoring may not be all that tremendous, but, we go all the way back to 2021, he does have a tied 7th finish here. So to me, these are the favorites. I would say these 4 are probably guys that are up closer into the top 10 in terms of odds. Not minding Hideki, Corey Connors, Maverick McNeely, or Luke Clanton. The next tier, which I would call maybe mid-tier or tier B type of guys, would be Eckroat, Pendrith, Griffin, Hall, McCarthy, and Berger. Berger potentially being my favorite out of those just because he does have the longest odds. And then sleepers right now, anyone that's kind of outside of that plus 8,000 range, Lucas Glover, Seamus Power, and then Adam Svensson. Again, guys, make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment. It'll take you to the Guy Boston Sports website, in which I will break down word for word, line by line, bar for bar, what I'm actually rolling with myself. All these odds are courtesy of DraftKings, but I'll put the book that we're looking at on there as well. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this. Hopefully you're getting some information out of it. I know we have like a niche golf following, which is very, very fun for me because, I know we cover NBA, MLB, NFL on this channel personally, but golf is definitely one of my favorite sports to, 1, play, and 2, wager on. So yeah, go ahead and let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. And if you do like the golf content, definitely run up the likes, hit that subscribe button as well, and comment 12 because you made it just about 12 minutes into this video. I would like to know if these are worth doing, if you guys are finding value in it, because I'm going to be doing this research and this anyways. Should I put the microphone, the camera, get the lights going, and kind of share this type of stuff? If it does help you, if you're entertained, if you find value in it. So let me know in the comments down below, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.